So you recently downloaded Azure Lane and you're expecting big waifus, small waifus, all sorts of waifus. But instead, what you actually found yourself finding was menus, more menus, crafting menus, and much, much more. Azure Lane is one of those games that is extremely complex, even though its outer weeby waifu exterior doesn't hint you off to it's going to be so complicated. So, if you are in that position where you recently downloaded Azure Lane and understand practically nothing about the game, you're in luck. Get a drink, sit down, and hang out with me for a while as we're going to discuss a bunch of the basics and the things that you need to know about Azure Lane. So now, with that said, let me first make one quick little statement here. Down in the description below, you're going to find time cards that go to different portions of the video for different levels of play. That is meant to be for how far along you are in the game. This portion of the video is meant for people that have just freshly downloaded the game and are trying to figure out what they're even doing in the first place. The first things first that I do want to discuss is your starter ships. There's two different starter ships for the NA region. It is Z23, which I have renamed to Claire through the Oath system, which we'll touch on later on in the video. We also have a couple other choices in the NA region. We have Javelin and Laffy. Don't concern yourself with which one is the best one or not. Go with one that looks the most appealing to you, as in the early game, it doesn't really super matter. All three of these ships are pretty competent ships. All three of them have very strong retrofits. They are very powerful ships. But if you absolutely must know, and if you are one of those kind of people that is worried about, a meta-based discussion, then do know that Laffy and Z23 are both the arguably better ships. I personally found myself holding a preference towards Z23, but as far as all the reasonings why for that, that is something that can perhaps be held within another video on another day. The next thing I want to discuss just super quickly, there is, for the most part, 4 different currencies in this game. We have our coins right here that we use to buy things in the game. We have oil, that is basically our energy resource. We have gems. This is our premium currency that is used to buy skins, expand dorm space, and also to expand the dock. Now, since we brought that up, let's look at that real quick. Back over here at the dock, we have a dock capacity right up here. As we can see, I have 243 out of 270. And to expand that, we come over here to shop. We then go to items. And right here will be the dock expansion. Dock expansion, and also coming over to HQ, then dorm. And right in here in the dorm, expanding your dorm to have it at the maximum size should be the first 2 things you really want to prioritize with your gems. These are going to be very important in the long run. Don't use the gems that the game gives you in the early game quickly, easily, for free on just skins. You'll regret that in the long run, unless you're willing to spend money on the game. If that's the case, do whatever you want. But just know, gems really should be used towards expanding dock space, making your dorm a little bit larger. And then the other thing we also wanted to discuss, if we come from HQ, Academy, Tactical class, and here we're able to give our girls training, basically put, which as we can see, my girls are needing some right now. Let me just give them all books here real quick. And in here, you have 2 slots to start with, but you can buy a third one with gems. You're going to want to do that too, because in here, you can put girls in here and use the books like you just saw me using to level up their skills. This is extremely important, but having that third slot so you can train your girls' skills even faster is extremely important. After you got those 3 things done, from there, yeah, use your gems for whatever you want. But just please always bear in mind there's important things that you're going to want your gems to go to first when you're just first getting started in this game. Now there's 2 other things I want to discuss when it comes to you're brand new to this game. Next is building and daily missions. You have what is called daily missions. As you can see, due to the fact that I gave them training, conduct tactical training one time, I got a free book out of it. And right there it is. You're going to want to come here. Your dailies are here on the left-hand side as it's labeled. You're going to come through here and read what each one of these wants you to do, such as claim victory 3 times. I haven't done that yet today, but when I do, I'll get this stuff right here for free as a reward for doing it. As you do your dailies, dailies plug right into these down here, weeklies. You want to always make sure to do your dailies and your weeklies. These are great to use as a means for getting up first thing in the morning when your alarm goes off. Instead of rolling over and hitting the snooze button, grab your phone, turn on Azure Lane, and maybe do some of your dailies. I personally find it to be a healthy way to start my day, for me at least, and it gets the job done for me in my Azure Lane grind. It's a great thing to be looking towards, and always make sure that you're getting these done. I can't stress that enough. The other thing I want to discuss with new people, there is building. If you come over here, there's 3 different types of building. Sometimes there's 4 if there's a special event building going on, but there isn't right now in this moment. But sometimes there will be, and it'll be right here. There'll be a 4th. But anyways, for me right now, there's light, heavy, and special. And there's something I want to discuss on this. I can't stress how important this is. Light, of course, builds smaller ships. That's fairly easy and straightforward to know. Heavy builds, of course, bigger ships. Also easy to know. Special can potentially build a little bit of anything and everything, and gives you the chance to build very special, super rare ships such as Illustrious, U-81, and the Enterprise. So unless you really want Illustrious or maybe U-81, special is not worth it. You pay the same price, 2 wisdom cubes, 1,500 coins, as heavy. But as we can see right here, light carriers, repair ships, you know, look at this, repair ships. You can build light ships with special, meaning you could wind up paying a heavy ship price tag, but get a light ship out of it instead. Pretty rough. So always bear that in mind and try to be efficient with what you're doing. Another build tip that plugs back into the daily missions. Always make sure at the end of the day, you have at least a wisdom cube, or 2 if you have to. Never use all your wisdom cubes, because the next day we can come here, build ourselves a brand new light ship. The reason for that being is, we come back to this, 1 wisdom cube and 600 coins. But if we do that, there's a daily mission that gives us 800 coins, a wisdom cube, and even gives us a training book for free. You're always going to want to make sure to be doing this. I mean, you literally get a free ship out of it. You get a free ship, a free book, and you even get a free extra 200 coins. There's no reason to not make this a part of like your daily grind. Also, just so we can get it out of the way really quick now in the video, guilds. Are they important? No, they're not. These are nothing more than like special chat rooms you can have with your friends that, if I come here and click it, costs 300 gems to make one. These aren't particularly worth it, like seriously. I do not recommend making a guild. I do not recommend worrying all that much about it. With all that said, that is my you just downloaded the game tips. In the next portion here, we're going to start talking about some slightly more advanced ideas in the game and how to start getting your gameplay moving forward. So, if you feel like you've already taken in enough information, pause the video, come back when you're ready. This section of the video is going to primarily focus on the ship girls themselves, because there's a lot to touch on here. We're not going to be touching on gear and all that just yet, because it's just so much information to be trying to get out there and get you with. So, on that, first we're going to talk about Oath here. I brought it up a little bit ago. With the Oath system, basically put as you fight with your ship girl, when you have her in the dorm, etc., she will gain affection towards you, or as the game calls it, affinity. As she reaches higher levels of affinity, she then begins to basically receive buffs, if you will. As you can see here, once she's reached 100 affinity, you can then have vows with her. You can basically put you can marry the Shipfu. You can only marry one Shipfu for free because the game will give you a one ring for free. That's how you marry them. And once you've married a Shipfu, as you can see here, all base stats except speed and gear receive a plus 12% buff. This is actually a pretty good buff right there, and is definitely something pretty coveted you're going to want to seek after. And make sure that it goes towards whoever your favorite ship is, unless, again, you got the money to start getting rings, or just try to save up your gems from gameplay and the occasional Apollo gems that they give us. Maybe get a ring or two, too. But always make sure it goes towards your best girls, because the buff you get out of this is pretty significant, and some girls even give you a brand new skin for free when you do this. I don't have an example right away that I personally own, but I can show you an example right here of Prince Eugen. Over here, Prince Eugen, if we go to skins, you can see that this right here is our marriage skin. If I was to marry Prince Eugen, I would get this skin for free, as well as the stat buffs. So that's something else to keep in mind too. Be sure to be looking out for that. Next up, the other thing we're going to talk about here is limit breaking and retrofitting. Both of these are very important. And we're going to actually look at our girl Shoho right here. We're going to be talking about her more here in a little bit, by the way. I already have her fully retrofitted and fully limit broken. But the way limit breaking works is you click right here and you'll basically have tiers. At each tier, you can either use a spare copy of that particular ship, or you can use what's known as bullens. So to get an example here, let's go to my I-58 right here. If I click limit break, it'll bring up the universal bullens. The purple universal bullens are for all your regular purple, blue, and white ships. The gold ships, on the other hand, they use the gold bullens, which I currently have none of. I recently used them all up, so I don't have one directly here to show. But that's what your bullen ships are used for. Actually, no, wait, I do have one. It's locked right here. So that's what all that's for. You're going to definitely want to make sure that you're doing that in the right increments. Because here's the thing to bear in mind. Let's go back to I-58. If we hit limit break, as we can see right here, it marks that she will be able to reach a higher maximum level, more HP, more firepower. Oh man, this sounds good. She's going to be more powerful. But also, instead of costing 2 oil to deploy, she'll cost 3. Every time you limit break your girl, they start costing even more oil to deploy. And this rapidly adds up for a fleet, especially with bigger, heftier ships that cost more in the first place. Like if we look at Hood here, she currently costs 9 oil to deploy, and if I limit break her again, she'll go up by another 2 and start costing 11 oil to deploy. But this is also something you want to keep in mind. So here's the recommendation. Get your Shipfus up to the appropriate levels before you limit break them for maximum efficiency. Get a girl to level 69 and then limit break her the first time. Get her to level 79 for the second, and then get her all the way to 89 for the third and final limit breaking. That way you're not wasting oil in the long run. And then the other thing that I was bringing up there real quick is retrofitting. Not all ship girls can retrofit, but some can. And the way retrofitting works is basically it's very straightforward. You need these like little blueprint things that you can easily earn. You get them from playing in hard mode. There's also certain events that will hand them out. Certain types of missions will too. You can get loads of these. You can also get them in exchange, which we're just going to talk briefly on here in just a moment. But you just slowly but surely work your way up to completing it. And as you can see, when you need to complete it, you need to have a spare one of the ship once again. Although sometimes the retrofit requires something special instead of like a spare copy of the ship. Speaking of spare copies, there's a bunch of different things you can do with them. If you have spare copies of a ship, You just click one of your ship girls, and when you retire her, it will show you what you're going to get out of it. You're going to get a couple coins, a little bit of oil, and then you get the gear from her as well. You can do this, and this will now send it to your equipment, or you can have it sold off, which will make you a little more coins. So it's a way to pull in a little bit of coins, it's a way to pull in a little bit of oil. But if you retire bigger ships, if you retire a blue ship, I don't personally like Portland, I'm going to retire Portland, you get what's called a Medal of Honor for blue or higher up ships. The rarer the ship, the more medals of honor you get, but do be careful how you go about that. You don't want to start retiring a whole bunch of, like, of your Bullens, for example, just to get medals of honor. Once you have those medals of honor, you can then exchange them. Right over here in the exchange menu, you can exchange them for ships. You can get Bullens here, which is very helpful. Or you can exchange them for items. And hey, look, there they are. Retrofit blueprints. Like I said, they're right over here. You know, I'm going to pick those up just for the heck of it. There you go. And you sometimes get some other really nice stuff in here too, like that. I do want that. So yeah. There's always a super rare ship to get out of the exchange. And there's usually a elite right here and some other assorted things, as we can see here too. Although all of these don't really mean anywhere near as much. The last thing you can do with spare ships is you can come to one of your current ships, such as my beautiful Graf Zeppelin. You can go to the Enhance menu. With Enhanced, you can use spare copies of ships and get rid of them to enhance your current ship, although up to a certain maximum. The equipment can then be used to still get turned into coins, like so. A very quick and simplistic thing right there. Now there's a couple other things I want to discuss for when you're, early on and getting started in this game. For one, come right here and do all your easy, hard exam stuff here. You get free stuff out of it. There is no reason not to be doing these. I know I haven't done them myself. Don't worry, I'll be doing them. But just make sure that you are doing these. You get free stuff. It's a good thing to be doing. And on that note, since we saw those tech boxes, at the depot, we want to come over here. Never, ever open blue or white boxes. White boxes will only give white gear. Blue boxes mainly give white with a chance of blue. Purple is what gives mainly blue with a chance of purple. And here's the thing. You can click your white. And instead of hitting use, you can hit craft. Look at that. I can turn all these white boxes into blue boxes like so. And I can then come to the blue boxes and do that again. And turn them into purple boxes. And now with purple boxes, I have much higher chances of getting equipment I actually want. This is much more efficient use of your boxes that you find. As you can see there, I just got a purple item. Whereas if I had opened one of these, I mean, the only thing I'm ever going to get is a white item. I shouldn't even done that, but I'm just doing it for example purposes. So never do that. Always craft your boxes into your better boxes. That is a very important thing. And then last but not least, let's have a minor discussion on events, exercises, and what your early grind needs to be. Events are pretty straightforward. They usually tell you exactly what you need to do. And honestly, just make sure you're doing them. There's not much else to be said here. Always try to prioritize events that look like are going to be a little easier for you though, because sometimes events are aimed a little less so at newer players and older players. And if you miss an event though, don't be too sad or upset. Events do come back. They're kind of like on a cycle system, or however you might want to word it. They do occasionally get re-rolled. So don't sweat it. If you really want Stanley, for an example, but you can't log in each and every one of these days and get her, don't worry, they'll probably, most likely for that matter, at some point or another, give another way and give another chance to get this little cutie right here. So, nothing to super worry about there. So the other thing I want to discuss, exercises. use them. In the exercise menu, you can set up a defensive fleet, and which is very easy to do, you just click here and you make it like you would in a formation. But if you go to fight someone, let's say I want to fight you, you're easy. You'd hit start, and right here you can click change. And it's right here where you can quickly and easily change out what ships you have. Exercises cost no oil, but as I'll show here super quick and easily, these still give experience. So always make sure that you are logged in and taking advantage of the free XP that's just hanging out. I mean, there's no reason not to do this. Alright, and as we can see here, I won this match. You get some of what's called merit here. And as you can see, it gets me experience for all my ships, and it costs no oil. Best part is, you still get points and experience and even the merit currency, win or lose. So, no reason to not be taking advantage of the exercise system. The final thing I wanted to discuss for people when you're just first getting started in this game is where to grind. So when you're first getting started with this game, in World 1, honestly, don't worry about it too much. You just want to be grinding out these worlds, getting experience for your ship girls, and just, you know, get as many ship girls as you can from finishing missions, doing building, doing your daily logins, which, by the way, if you log in 8 days in a row, you get a free Prince Eugen. No reason to not do that, as a quick side note. And as you go forward from there, once you're in Chapter 2, on the other hand, things start changing a little bit. Your first early game grind is going to be found right over here at Stage 2-3. Because here has a bunch of great ships that you're going to want to be getting a hold of. Here's where you get all your Fletcher class-like ships. This is where you're going to find Aulic, for an example, and whatnot. But it's also here that you're going to find Shoho, and you're going to find Fletcher. If along the line, by chances, you also manage to either get, find, or exchange for Thatcher, that is where, as a quick suggestion, you can then craft. Let's see, do I already have the fleet pre-made? I might not. Okay, it's more or less right here. So the idea is what you use is you use the Fletcher fleet. We're going to explain this super quick and easy. It's called that because Fletcher right here has this ability called Sister's Temperament. She increases the firepower and evasion of all Fletcher class destroyers. Basically put, she hands out more firepower and more evasion to her sisters. And the sisters you're going to most likely be using, you really want to use Thatcher right here. She's not a half-bad one to be using. And from there, it doesn't really matter. You can either use Aulic or Foot. Either one of these two right here are perfectly fine to be the third one in the front row. And then you just simply throw Shoho right over here on the back line. I'll show you how she normally looks so you know what she's supposed to look like. And this simple 4-ship fleet doesn't cost much oil and is very effective. Shoho heals while Fletcher hands out evasion and firepower to the girls. It is a great introduction into, team composition within this game. Something that can get, a little complicated sometimes, but we're not going to dig too deep into that right here in this particular video. That's something that can start getting pretty advanced from there, and that's a very basic rundown of how that works. So with all that said, that's going to end this little section, just so you know. In the next section, we're going to start trying to touch on, just finishing touches and whatnot, everything else that's not been touched on just yet. So once again, if you feel like you've taken in enough information, feel free to pause and come back when you're ready to hear more. Alright, now we're going to finalize up all the tips and tricks and things you need to know about Azur Lane. The first thing we're going to discuss real quick is the shops in a little more detail. And no, we're not talking about skins and gems and items here. No, instead, now we're talking about the munitions shop. Yeah. There's 3 different shops here, General, Merit, and Core even. So, They refresh every now and then. As you can see, mine at this moment is about to refresh in most say 10 minutes. It does it at 3 p.m. for me. It will most likely be at a different time for you. Try to get used to that. Trying to rotate how much, coins you have for when your shop's going to refresh. That way, you know if there's anything you really, really want to buy from the next refresh or not. And that way, you already have, the coins to buy that. And then worry about like maybe doing a retrofit or a limit break or something like that afterwards is a pretty good tip to go off of for future. We have the merit shop. This is where all that merit stuff that you get from the exercises can be spent. In here, you can get the South Dakota ship, the Eldridge ship. Eldridge is a very powerful ship, very much worth your while to work towards. Sometimes there will be the gold bullion in here, but right now there's not. And as you can see, there will be like a bunch of chests and things like that. So, pretty interesting. Next up is, of course, the core shop. As you earn core data from doing like hard mode stuff and completing hard mode missions and that sort of thing, you can use those to get special equipment in here. And there's definitely some pretty darn good stuff in here that is more than worth your while to be getting, such as, right over here, cognitive chips. Chips derived from wisdom cubes used for cognitive awakening can be used on chips that have reached. It doesn't fully have the thing there. Well, basically put, these are connected to how you can get ships to become even more powerful than like level 100, max limit broke, etc. It's just something that you can do. Also, a quick side note here. You can give the cute little shop girl 2 head pats a day. And you just want to keep doing it until her little stuff in her sleeves that you just saw, all her little tools, they'll kind of like fall out and she'll have special commentary. And little hearts and things like that will come off of her. If you keep doing this, once you've totaled up to 30 times, she'll give you a special quest that will, in the end, allow you to earn her. And plus, she'll also start sending you stuff in your mailbox for free as she starts kind of forming a friendship, if you will, of her. So be sure to always be coming here and giving the cute little shop girl her head pats. Next thing we can do is gear. We're going to look at here real quick. So with gear, it's not just as simple as earning it, you can also upgrade it. So, for example, I have a +6 Sea Fang right here. I can enhance this and make it even more powerful. It will require materials and it will also require coins. They're usually not this bad. It's just that high because that's, gold equipment and it's already been enhanced before. So if you scroll down here for like a cheaper, quick example, this right here, it's just a white plane. So as we can see, it's extremely cheap and easy. But by doing this, we can see right here what it will do and give it. This is how you make better gear for yourself. Gear loadouts and things like that to put on your ship girls. That is a totally different talking matter that is got lots and lots of complexity to it. We can perhaps touch on in another video, but I just wanted to give a quick word on how to enhance your gear and where to go for that. You also, of course, have your crafting menu right over here. You will gain gear parts in missions, such as at chapter 3-4. And with these parts, you can, once you've collected enough of them, you can make them into something, such as the repair tools box. That is one of the best items in the game to be having right there. You're going to want as many of them as you can. But let's see here. Let's say I want these. So I just click make, and as you can see, super easy. Simple as that. I'll turn it into an actual item, and it'll now be over there in my depot. No real difficulty there. Now, memento. This I definitely want to talk on in a little bit of detail here. The memento is where you can come to see what other ships are like within the same group of ships, for example, such as the Beaver one right here. All these are the sisters to Thatcher. And as you can see, basically put, the idea is when you max limit break all the ships in a particular classification, you will then get a reward of some kind. So these are definitely worthwhile to do because, as you can see, sometimes it's trophies, but sometimes it's like special items. You can get gems. You can even get like actual ships. And some of these ships are actually really good. Very powerful ships sometimes are in here that you definitely want to be getting. So do be checking this out, looking these over, and seeing what ships you need to be limit breaking to get rewards, because these rewards are very much worth your while. If nothing else, why not do these for the free gems? Hey, there you go. The last thing we're going to touch on real quick before we get on out of here is the lab. I'm not going to go into super detail, but I just wanted to at least click it so you guys know that I'm recognizing it's here. The same thing goes with, your cat lodge right over here. The thing is, these are more advanced stuff to be talking about, and I'm probably gonna have a completely separate video for both of them. But just know that things like Research Academy, Fleet Tech, your shipyard, and over here with your cat lodge, these are not things to be super worried about all that early game. And in fact, some of these aren't even features you even have unlocked to be able to mess with in the early game. But in case you were noticing that they were here, don't worry about it yet. Get your levels up. Do everything else this video is suggesting to get your ship foos into good combative state and ready to take on the world. And I will see you guys in the next video when we start talking about, in-game stuff such as the lab. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you don't mind, hit this video with a like and comment down below what you'd like for me to touch on in the future. I'm thinking of doing character reviews and perhaps fleet reviews. Who knows? But hey, thanks a lot for anyone that's listening to this right now for sticking with me the long way through all the video. I'll see you some other time. Bye now.